The facility behind me is a solar array in a native grassland, and it's designed to help us understand the field of ecovoltaics. Ecovoltaics is the field where we try and think about how we can employ ecological principles and understanding to better integrate solar energy generation into our natural ecosystems. Where these large solar arrays are likely to be installed is in the grasslands of Colorado. They're the ecosystems most likely to be able to host large areas of these solar arrays. And so we're very interested as grassland ecologists how these grasslands will respond to the presence of solar arrays. Colorado State University, it's a land grant institution. One of our missions is to make sure that usage of our land, right, is sustainable in the long term. And so our interest in ecovoltaics is how can we better have these large solar arrays coexist with the ecosystems that are underneath them. There's a couple of different fields we're interested in. One is termed agrovoltaics. That's primarily focused on agricultural crop production underneath these solar arrays. That can be a challenge because a lot of heavy equipment is needed, combines and the like, under solar arrays, and that's a difficult coexistence to think about. But in grasslands, where you have perennial plants that don't have to be dealt with large equipment, for example, it's much more likely that they'll be able to coexist better. Our concern, however, is, at least the questions we have, are these are relatively flat, highlight ecosystems. What happens to these grasslands when you begin to shade them by having row after row after row of solar panels? And so our interest is how the grasslands can coexist with the solar panels. Will that be a sustainable coexistence? Might there even be benefits to the grasslands by having some shade in these systems? Our early returns are exactly that most grasslands in Colorado are water limited. That is, they don't have enough water to grow all year. They tend to turn brown relatively quickly. And removing some of the solar energy from these grasslands actually helps them conserve moisture, keep soil moisture in the soil longer, and may actually help the grasses grow and be greened longer during the growing season. In Colorado, right, we have a legislative mandate to convert our energy generation from non-renewable energy forms to renewable energy forms. The laws state that by 2030, we're supposed to have 50% in Colorado of our energy generated in renewable energy, and 100% by 2050. We probably need close to 200 miles squared of solar arrays across the state in order to generate enough electricity to offset what we now use with fossil fuels. Just to give you an idea of how much area that is, the city of Denver is about 150 miles squared. So that seems like a really large area. But if you think about it in terms of the agricultural land that we have across the state, it's about 1% to 2% at most. And so if we spread these solar arrays out across the state, their footprint is relatively small compared to the amount of land we have. I think one of the advantages of ecovoltaics is that instead of focusing just on energy production, we think about the whole system. We think about the ecosystem underneath, and we think about the energy generation that's occurring above that ecosystem. In Colorado, one of our major concerns is water limitation. We're a dry state, we're a semi-arid state overall, and the projections are that we're likely to get more dry in the future, become even a drier state. As a result of that, we're very interested in how these solar arrays can mitigate that aridity, can mitigate the water stress in these systems by providing shade to the grasslands periodically throughout the day. We have early indications that soil moisture is increased, production of the grasses goes up, more forage might be available for cattle overall, and we think by thinking about the ecosystem and the solar arrays combined, we might be able to design them in ways that benefit both.